Welcome back to Comedy for Life, the podcast. I'm way too excited right now. This is Walter Frasier, and I'm here to talk about brainstorming content, brainstorming ideas for your first or your next 5 minute comedy routine. And here's the thing, I think what we're about to talk about is huge in whatever you're working on. I don't care if you're a wannabe stand up comic, doing improv comedy, doing theater, writing plays, writing books, creating content for YouTube, TikTok, podcasts, whatever it is. I'm going to give you a few simple steps and then I'm going to go through a couple writing prompts to create your first 5 minutes of stand-up comedy routine. And remember, this is step one. This is step one. And at step one, it's all about brainstorming. When you have a research paper to do in history class, language class, book reports, science, whatever, you're taking a class in school, high school, elementary school, college, and you go to the library, you do the research, you read the books, you read the magazines, you read the periodicals, you read the experts, right? You develop this entire library of your own of note cards and ideas. Basically, what we're going to do is treat your first 5 minutes of comedy routine kind of like a school assignment, because too often we just kind of go willy-nilly and we don't have a system. This is a system that I want you to learn and I want you to stick to for your next 5 minute routine. Trust me on the system. And then the rest of your life, you're going to find ways to break it. But it's like so many things in acting. The technique is not the acting. Technique is not acting. These things, these tricks we do to learn how to be better actors is not acting, but there are ways to get out of our head. There are ways to give it a process so that when we go to act, we don't have to just fake it and figure it out brand new every time. But I want you to just take a step back and think of your brain as the library for your creative process. We also have Google. We also have the internet. We also have AI now where you can help brainstorm things, or you have a very specific topic that you're talking about, writing about, doing material about, comedy or otherwise, and you need to go to the internet or you need to go to the library, old school. Ooh, who does that anymore? But you need to research some things that are not in your brain. But a lot of the creative, a lot of the funny, a lot of the soul that you can't replace, I don't think, with AI is going to come from a brainstorming process of your life's experiences and observations. In fact, one of the best things you could do for yourself to become a better comic, a better actor, a better creative type, a better writer, whatever, director, producer of film, of content, a painter, get up, go outside and live, observe and experience your world. Put down the phones, open your eyes, and go for a walk. I have comedy classes in Times Square with kids and teens and adults. And I literally say, if you have nothing to say, you don't know what to say, you do. Trust me, we're going to get to that in a second. But literally go to Times Square proper, go over to where the TKTS booth is, go over to the Duffy Square, the Father Duffy, the, who's over there, the George M. Cohen statue, right? Go over there and then walk back to the club. It's about a 20-minute round trip walk, 30 minutes if you're stopping to smell the roses, so to speak, really observing. And you would have maybe an hour worth of stand-up comedy material ready to go, because you're going to see so many people. You're going to see traffic. You're going to see people doing great things, doing horrible things, doing stupid things, doing blah things. You're going to see people trying to sell you stuff. You're going to see Elmo. You're going to see the Naked Cowboy, maybe. You're going to see people from Ohio. You're going to see people from Brooklyn, from Bronx, from China, from Russia, from Brazil. You're going to see hundreds and thousands of people. And you're going to see street vendors. You're going to see restaurants. You're going to see stores. You're going to see theaters. You're going to see life in an urban setting that is just amped up. And just there's so much story. And if you just open your eyes, like, oh, right? And we're going to talk about more of that in a second. But go out there, observe your world, and then journal your world. Keep a record. Okay, what we're about to do in the next 15 minutes or so, starting in a second, it takes about 15 minutes for me to babble what I'm about to babble. But comics do this every Monday. The comics that do this for real, they go out on the road, they make the big bucks at the colleges, at the corporate events, the theaters, the arenas, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, maybe. And then they come back to New York City on Monday to write new material, to get in the clubs. In New York City, there's probably hundreds of clubs every single day that you can get on stage. The big names can just go to the comedy club, sit down with their notebook. The rest of us, the medium names, little names, we're going to open mics or we're producing shows, bringers, barkers. I talked to them in my last episode, how to get stage time. You're getting on stage 5, 6, 7 times a night sometimes, because you can go from club to club to club. You can literally, in a walking distance, find dozens of rooms, comedy rooms, bars, coffee shops, theaters, doing open mics or professional shows. And depending on where you are on the totem pole of comedy at that point, there's a place for you to get on stage. And the comics that do it for real, they do it every night. And they're there. They might take a night off, but a lot of them don't. They're so hungry to create new material. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Monday, day one, that's today. If you're taking a weekly class, it's week 1 of 4, right? But over the next 4 episodes, the next 4 classes, we're going to create this material. Today is just brainstorm. And what the comics do, the one that are more scatterbrained, and sometimes that's me, I'll be admitting, you grab a cocktail napkin from the bartender and a pen, and you just start jotting down ideas. And a lot of times, literally, you go to a 2-hour open mic, you're sitting there for 30 minutes to an hour and a half while you're waiting to go up in the dark. And you're just there scribbling the whole time. Little secret, if you do your homework at school, you don't have any homework, right? If you don't waste time at lunch and you actually do your math homework at lunch, you don't have any homework that night. If in between classes, while people are playing whatever they're playing, if you're reading the books you need to read for language arts and science and history, you have less reading to do when you get home. You can actually go home and play outside some sports a little bit longer, right? But you're always, so when you're at the open mic, you're there for like 2 hours and you want to go there for 2 hours. You don't want to pop in for 5 minutes and leave because that's rude to everybody else. You want an audience when it's your turn, so you want them there. While you're waiting to go up, writing down ideas, sketching some ideas. And then you just get up on stage and you just talk, you have fun. And then when you get off stage, while you're waiting for the whole thing to end, you analyze the work. What worked? What didn't work? Right? 3 steps every time you get on stage, whether it's open mics or it's your first time on late night TV doing a set, whether you're doing your special at a club, whatever. You're doing a gig where you made thousands of dollars at a college or a corporate event. Every time you get on stage, you're going to prepare one way or the other. You'll get on stage and just have fun. Execute the plan, but have fun, leaving ego and insecurity out the door, just having fun, having a conversation one-on-one with you and hopefully thousands of people on the other side of the microphone, if you're lucky. At open mic, maybe 5, you don't know. At a bringer, maybe it's your mom and dad, I don't know, right? But whoever it is, you're having a conversation with them, having fun, just talking. And then you get off stage and analyze the work without ego, without insecurity, without beating yourself, without celebrating too much. Enjoy the moment if it felt good. I'm not saying don't do that. Write it down if it did. If it didn't feel good, write that down. But get there and just write down, how did it go? Good, bad, ugly, in the most objective possible way you can in that moment, right? So here we're going to go. Let's start. Brainstorming ideas. I just want you to grab a piece of paper. You can do this on your phone, but I recommend paper. Again, the comics that do it with cocktail napkin use a more scatterbrained. The really organized one have a composition book. If you ever watched that one special on Netflix, Jerry Seinfeld laid out all of his legal pad, yellow pad notes, right? They filled up an entire city block. I don't know how they did it without wind. They probably glued it. I don't know, right? But write down 5 to 10 ideas. I'm just going to throw a bunch of writing prompts at you now. And I just want you to write down 5 to 10 ideas that you might want to talk about right now for the next 10, 15, 30, however, don't edit, don't judge, don't worry about being funny. Don't try to be funny. Don't try to be clever. If it has anything that comes into your mind, vomit it onto the paper. My students, I love that because they hate it, right? But vomit any idea, explode. You know how like vomit kind of goes, you can't control it. Sometimes you vomit a little bit in your mouth, but if it's coming up, it's coming up. If it's in your head, I want you to have that kind of explosion, like a volcanic explosion. It can't be stopped from the head onto the paper. Don't think. Just listen with your eyes. Never think. If you're focused and listening, You never have to think, right? Don't edit, don't judge. Brainstorming 101, just if it pops in your head, put it on the paper. Like the old psychiatrist, whatever you say the first thing that comes to mind. Doesn't matter what it is, right? We're not going to look at this. So bad penmanship, draw pictures. I don't care what you do. Let's start with where you live. Where do you live? Right at the top of the piece of a paper, where do you live? Is that a house, an apartment, a condo, wherever you're spending your time sleeping most nights these days? Are you sleeping on somebody's couch? A lot of young comics. You ever watch Pete Holmes Crashing, right? You've got roommates. Are you a kid still living at home? I hope at 8, 9, 10, or you're a 30-year-old still living at home, right? Different scenario. But where do you live? Who do you live with, right? As a kid, parents, siblings, pets. Who do you live with? Who are your neighbors? Who lives in the house? Who are the neighbors? Just write some stuff down. I don't even care if anything pops in, write it down. But right now, just write whatever comes to mind down. Right? Gibberish on the paper. What are things they do? What's something they did? What's something you did to them? Right? I love self-deprecating humor more than making fun of somebody else. It's always authentic and it's always safe. Or you can always make fun of yourself and not worry about offending anybody. But I also love stories that I love my mom, I love my dad, I love my brother, I love my sister, I love my dog, I love my cat. But that one thing they do, they love to play with my toys without asking, right? As a kid, right? What are the things as a kid you would do? I love that. I love them, but I don't like it. I don't like it how they do this. I don't like it when they do this, right? What's that thing? What's that thing they did? What's that thing they do? What's that thing they said that was just ridiculous? The house, the building, the apartment, the appliances, what's working, what's not working. You have a leak, right? I own my own house now for 10 years, and every other day, the dishwasher, the laundry machine. I'm so excited to have a laundry machine in the next room. I hope you can't hear it, and I want to have this microphone, yay. But half the time it doesn't work. The dryer got to go through 3 cycles to get anything dry. I'm like, ugh, I could get it fixed, but that's more money I don't want to spend, right? Whatever. It's that constant thing. But what's causing stress in your life? A lot of times what we think is funny is not going to make a great comedy routine. We're just sharing that thing that happened. It's a great thing at coffee or at lunch with your friends in school. Oh my God, it was so funny this weekend happened, blah, 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 blah. And you're just telling the story. But a lot of times it's the pain, the stress, the annoyance, the anxiety. Like I say, leave ego and anxiety off stage, except when it suits your material. Where do you spend most of your time away from home? That's probably school if you're a student or work if you're out of school, right? Unless you're a house husband, a housewife, you're probably at school, you're probably at work. Who are the people there? The building. I'm going to pick this up. I've been babbling a lot, but everything we just did for the house, bring into your place of work, your place of school. The friends, frenemies, teachers, bosses. Are you a boss? Are you a leader? Are you an owner? Who are the people that work for you? Right? A lot of times in comedy, we do this in improv a lot, but status. Who's next to you? Who's above you? Who's below you? When you're a kid, you've got parents, you got teachers, you've got the teacher's bosses, your boss's bosses, right? The principal at school, the district manager, regional manager, whatever, right? Who are the people? What are they doing? Who's that person that drives you crazy, insane, annoyed? Who's that person? Like they make you laugh, but man, they're kind of a jerk. What's that person that is just doing stupid things, saying stupid things all the time, right? Who's that person? Who's the worst? Who's the worst teacher you ever had? Who's the worst boss you ever had, right? What happened at work yesterday? A lot of times great comedy comes from the most mundane things because every single one of us can relate to them, right? So next, vacation stories. Love vacation stories. There's something about when you go on vacation, hopefully you let down your guard a little bit because you're ready to have fun. You're not worried about the house. You're not worried about the job. At least a few hours after you get there, hopefully you finally get a chance to detox, right? There's something about that, though. We tend to put ourselves out there in a different way. And all of a sudden, we're out there on jet skis, climbing mountains, skiing, doing things that, like I always say at my age, I go out there and I start doing things. I have a bad shoulder. I love to swim in the ocean. And now I find myself going deeper in the ocean, wondering, am I going to get back? Right? Airbnbs, hotels, airplanes, airports, trains, buses. There are people, there are mechanics that fail. You get stuck in places. What are those things? It's like, I went to the beach, it rained the whole week. I went to Melbourne, Australia, true story, got an Airbnb for myself and 7 friends, my wife and 6 others, and myself, and a place where everything tries to kill you in Australia. The spiders, the snakes, the sharks, the jellyfish. There's a snail that tries to kill you in Australia. Well, it's not out to get you. It's not murderous. It's not human. But you step on it, you're done, right? And I'm like, there's all these spiders, and I'm in an Airbnb in Melbourne, Australia, where the walls are literally falling off the wall. And I'm like, we're gonna die, right? And it's like kind of funny, scary. It's like, oh, Walter messed up again. I have a lot of great comedy stories where I just talk about the stuff, all the times I messed up. Right? I got plenty of stories. I'm far from perfect, and I don't need to make fun of anybody else. I don't need to do politics. I don't need to make fun of anybody else because I got a lot of stories of me being an idiot, right? I like to think of myself as a highly functioning, very intelligent idiot, right? And that creates a lot of great stories. I just put myself out there. I'm having fun. My number one rule, have fun. It puts me in places and situations where I have a lot of story to talk about when I get back on stage. Not by design. It just works out that way, right? So put yourself out there. But what happened? What works? Write it down. The people, you're on these tours, on a cruise, at the beach, the subway, the train, yada, yada. Transportation stories. Love New York subway stories, bus stops. If you're in school, taking the bus to school, the bus driver, the bullies, the people in the station, the smells, the fluids on the seats in the subway are a story in and of their own. There's story everywhere, right? In the neighborhood, going to the bank, going to the store, going to the restaurant. If you're a kid, you go to a restaurant or a store, and a lot of times they don't respect you because you're not the one paying the bill, right? Or you might even have $1 to pay for that piece of candy, but they don't assume you do, so they ignore you, right? That horrible employee, that horrible person that treats employees at places like they're just terrible, right? I have a sister named Karen, so I hate using that name, but that person that people call Karen, right? I don't even like when the people say, oh, he's such a Chad. I hate that. That's like this TikTok thing. It's so like, I don't know. If you're a creator, be smarter than that. You could describe people, have fun with things people do, actual flaws. As soon as you label them, that's easy, right? Because this world lives in a place like we love to put things in a box, but it's a lazy creative thing. You can use it to kind of get a point across sometimes, to skip a lot of steps, right? But don't be lazy as a creator. But for right now, just write it down. If that's the first thing that comes to mind, it says, oh, there was a Karen at the store, write it down, right? Because we're not judging right now. When we get to the routine, we can do better than that on Friday. So right now, I hope you have a list of 5, 10, 20 things just from me brainstorming. Little thing, if you notice, I didn't talk about politics. I didn't talk about news. I didn't talk about pop culture. Didn't talk about sports. Didn't talk about anything other than your life. Because for stand-up comedy, I think the stories are better when you deal with you first, right? And then you can go deal. You're not on the Tonight Show where you need a monologue talking about what happened in the world today. And as far as I'm concerned, those guys have a team of writers. It's like trying to do sketch comedy in a way that Saturday Night Live does sketch comedy. You can't compete because they've got $1 million budget for sets, costume, props, writers, all that stuff. But you can do guerrilla filming. You can do all kinds of things that are much more unique in your own way and go do sketch comedy. You can create in ways. But as soon as you try to do like a stand-up comedy routine that might sound like Jimmy Fallon or Carson or Jack Benny or David Letterman at the opening of their TV show, one, that stuff, in the internet, they call it evergreen content, right? That's not evergreen content. That's stuff that matters today that doesn't matter tomorrow most often, right? The news cycle is like 9 minutes now. I even heard somebody say the other day, like literally every 9 minutes is a new news cycle now, the way the world and the internet works. It's just that fast. When you're doing stand-up comedy at this point, you're going to be doing the same routine for months, probably. So work on stuff that you know. And you know it's going to be unique, because if you know who says something stupid or does something horrible, there's going to be 1,000 comics somewhere talking about it on TV at the clubs tonight. But you're the only one who stubbed your toe on that coffee table this morning, which made you spill the coffee, which made the cat run into a wall, or right, the Rubik's Cube of your life, right? What's that thing that is unique to your world that no one else can talk about? But it'll still be relatable because we've all had experiences that are similar to what you did. So it's original. It's your experience, it's your personality, it's your friends, it's your family, it's your coworkers, it's your vacation, it's your neighborhood, right? But it's your story, and you can never be accused of ripping people off. Now, you have your list. I hope you were listening to my last episode where I said, before you even get to this point, you should already have a 5-minute time slot at an open mic ready to go. Go listen to my last episode about how to get stage time, but you should already have 5 minutes scheduled, and you're going to get on stage. You're going to put that piece of paper you have right now on the stool, assuming you're at a comedy club with a stool. You can hold it, right? You can have it on your phone. You can have it, whatever. You can grab the mic. Don't play with the cord. People hate that, and it's bad for the cord. Grab the mic and just talk. Just get up there and just one or two things. You're literally just going to read your list, or one at a time, just start telling the story. Just start telling the story and have a conversation. I hope you did not write out a paragraph of words to read or memorize. That's not stand-up comedy. Have a conversation with the audience. If you're the audience, don't talk back. That's heckling. It's a very one-sided conversation, right? But we're going to have a conversation as if we're at a coffee table. You talk. And like I said before, you get off stage, and that's when the real work happens. So you're at the open mic. You could have done this the entire time at the open mic while you're waiting to go up. But, brainstorm ideas, have a list of 5, 10, 20 things, get on stage, have fun. My number one rule, have fun. No ego, no insecurity, just talk. Get off stage. No ego, no insecurity, as objectively as possible. Analyze the work. What worked, what didn't work. You're planning ahead already to tomorrow, to next week, to the next time you're going to get on stage. And if you don't have your next 5 minutes of stage time planned, go do that now before you listen to episode 3. This has been episode 2 of Comedy for Life. My name is Walt Frasier. Hey, do me a favor, whatever platform you're listening to this, please follow, subscribe, like, check out the show notes down below. I've got some links down below where you can get some free tickets. I have shows in Times Square. I have classes in Times Square. I also tour DC to Boston, more private events than public events, but we're out there. We have family shows, adult shows, comedy, improv, murder mysteries, all kinds of fun stuff. Join my mailing list and get 2 free tickets to my next show. And we have Zoom classes. Stand-up comedy, improv comedy that are starting every month, right? Come join us on Zoom and have a good time. Hey, we'll see you guys next time. Don't forget my number one rule, have fun. And don't forget the homework. Start every day with a smile.